Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. Hope you're doing well. I am bringing back an episode from the past, recycling some stuff that we've had from the past that I think is still really valuable. And one of the things I did a while back was a little mini series around an apple seed, a quote, a metaphor, a story that really resonated with me from the past. And now that I'm in podcasting, I see it even better, with more clarity that this little analogy story thing is going to sit with you. And I've used it many times on podcasts as a guest, in speaking engagements, virtual summits, all these things that I do in my coaching with people one-on-one. We talk about the apple seed. It's a very seemingly insignificant little thought, but when you expand on it and think about it, it actually, well, like seeds do, it kind of grows on you. And I wanted to share this. This is the introductory idea around the little mini series. And from here, I then expanded on it and grew it even more. So if you look in the show notes, you will find a link to the playlist for the apple seed series that I did. And it's a bunch of episodes around the apple seed. So I'd love for you to after you listen to this, to click the link in the show notes. You can go over to YouTube and see the playlist. You can also then search back through the episodes, and you can find them as well. But the YouTube version is probably going to be the easiest way for you to find it. So please head over there, and you'll see all of these great episodes. Oh, and while you're there on YouTube, only a small, tiny percentage of this audience is following me on YouTube. So I love and appreciate the follow, because we do some special stuff over there that we don't do here. And it's in addition to what we do on the show. And it's there for you. And I'd love for you to go check it out. And links in the show notes. And also on the website, everywhere, howtopodcast.ca. Here's my recycled little mini episode, which sparked the idea for the series around an apple seed. Here's an early version of Dave coming back from the past. Whoa! Here we go. Thanks for being here. I'm going to be talking to you about a little story and illustration that somebody shared with me a long time ago, and it really stuck with me, and I hope to share it with you here, and I hope it has the same impact on you as you kind of think about your podcast, think about your life in general. A little story about an apple. Not the company that upsells you on their expensive products. No. An apple, the kind you eat, and how it can relate to podcasting. I know it's a stretch. Stick with me. We're going to talk about it here on the How to Podcast series. This is the Daily Dave. I'm Dave. Nice to have you here. So somebody told me this story a long time ago. And what they said was, Dave, when you look at an apple, you hold it in your hands. So I'm picturing a red apple. I don't have one with me. I have to go grocery shopping. But I'm picturing a red apple. Okay. It's about the size of a small baseball. Right? Still got the leaf on top. Right? The stem is still there. You look at it as an apple. And you're holding it in your hands. And you could have a different apple in your hands right now. If you have one close, pick it up. Look at that apple. Okay? Now, if you were to take a knife and just cut that apple in half, what you're going to see are seeds. Right? And so what you can do is you can cut the apple up into sections, and you can pick out all the apple seeds and put them in a pile. And what somebody said to me was, Dave, you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but what you can't count are the number of apples in a seed. You can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. Wow. It's true, right? One seed has the potential to become a tree, which can produce apples for years. Numerous amounts of apples could come from one seed. And that's what I think of when I think of podcasting. Is you can count the number of podcasts. You can count the number of podcasts about the topic you're talking about. But what you can't count is just take one of those podcasts, one of those episodes. And what you can't count, Even though you get statistics and numbers, you can see how many people are listening and where, you don't know the impact of what you're saying and what it means to someone listening to your show. When it releases, a week later, a month later, a year later, 10 years later, you don't know the ripple effect that your podcast can have in this world. So my challenge to you is, instead of counting apple seeds when we talk about our podcast, how many listeners, how many downloads, how long did they listen, all these things that we can fixate on as podcasters, my challenge for you is to take that pile of seeds on your desk in front of you on your countertop. You can count them. There's 20, there's 30, there's 15. There's a number of seeds in front of you. But again, pick up one and realize that there's such great potential in even just one seed. And your podcast has great potential to meet many, many needs and to talk to many, many people in your community and beyond. And when you go to hit your record on your next episode, I want you to think of that apple. Maybe grab an apple and put it there in front of you when you do your recording. And we talk about speaking to your avatar. Speak to your apple. And realize that the content you're putting out into the world, the people you're aiming to serve, the message you want to share, could reach far and beyond anything you could ever imagine. And may that be the thing that inspires you today to get behind the microphone and hit record. There's going to be days when it's going to be very tough in the busyness of life, family, work, job, everything that goes on in life, right? To carve out time to sit down and collect your thoughts, record an episode, and put it out into the world. And if that's you and you're kind of struggling with that, then next time you're at the store, buy an extra apple and just put it in front of you when you're recording, and realize that it may seem small, your efforts may seem small, your listenership may seem small. But if one person's life is different because you hit record and published a podcast, and that life impacts more lives, do you see what I'm going? Your podcast can have a positive impact, not just on one listener, but their extended community, their family, and into the future. Just because you said, I'm going to record my episode. So what we're going to do in the next few episodes coming up is we're going to be looking at how to create a meaningful impact and a message through your podcast. We're going to move away from some of the how-to parts. And we're going to focus really in on the content because, again, there's hundreds of podcasts that teach you how to podcast. And there's some really great ones. Again, I would love to point you in the direction of ones that I really like. And I would love to point you away from some of the ones that I think could be harmful to your podcasting journey. But I want to focus on, I'm looking at 10 episodes coming up that are going to be focused directly on creating an impactful message for your podcast. We're going to expand on them. So we'll be talking about stuff like defining your purpose and audience, crafting a compelling message, how you research and prepare, and on and on and on. We're going to look at 10 different things to help you to give you impact in your message and help you grow your podcast and your community. Hope you're ready. Hope you're interested and you want to join in on that. So just watch for these. I'm going to have them titled appropriately for all 10 around having an impactful message. So watch for those coming up here on the How to Podcast series. And I want to put this out there again. One thing I'm hoping to do more of is, and I've done this before in the past, but if you have a podcast and you were looking for some feedback on your show, give me an episode that you want me to look at and review. What I'll do is I'll listen to the episode, give you my feedback, some comments around your episode, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you back the episode and let you listen to it before I release it to the world. And that way I can get your feedback and your sign off if you're okay with what I'm talking about in your show. There's another podcast that does this, but they just mock people. And the host is grumpy and it's just a terrible experience. It's very awkward and icky to listen to. And the people that respond back with negative comments are usually the people that he mocks in the podcast. So instead of doing that, I'd much rather do this where you get the episode back. You get to hear my thoughts, the final episode. And then if you're okay with it, then I'll release the episode. It's all free. I don't charge anything for this. But the one thing I'm asking for anyone who does sign up is for you to make a donation to the charity of your choice. And then let me know who that charity is, because I'd like to promote that charity on your episode and tell people about why you chose that charity. Make any donation you want, doesn't matter, but make a donation to the charity of your choice. Tell me the charity, and we'll include that in the podcast when we review your show. howtopodcast.ca is where to find that. If you want some feedback on your show, you want to make it better, you want to grow, you want someone to listen to it who isn't related to you, I would love to help you with that. howtopodcast.ca is where to find me. Again, thanks you for being here, and we will talk to you on the next episode. Get out there and hit record and take those seeds. Because again, you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. Something to think about on the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon. Thanks for being part of the show. Again, go to the links in the show notes. You'll see the link to the playlist with all the apple seed episodes together. And I would encourage you to share this thought on your show, is because you could probably apply this story to anything that you're talking about on your podcast, no matter what your episodes are about. I think that this is a universal message, and it opens the door for us to think about our audience in a different context. It's not about the big numbers. It's not about being the top 100 this. It's not about any of that stuff. It is about connections, deep connections with your audience, something that we all need and we need to focus on more. So again, take a look at the link in the show notes to the playlist while you're on YouTube. Hit that follow, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And we'll catch you back here tomorrow for more of the How to Podcast series. Thanks for being part of the show. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now, Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we, as a listener, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass? Shovel the snow? Watch your dog? Help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, A, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here. And it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website at howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show. Tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon. You're still here? That is amazing. I'm just finishing up an apple while I'm recording. I'm not, but I'm thinking about it. Anyways, as we wrap up today, I had a question from a podcaster who's creating their show. They're thinking about having a private podcast feed, and they're asking me what my thoughts were about a private podcast. And there's some good things and some things to consider as well. Good things the good things are nice that you can put it behind a paywall if you wish, so that only certain people have access to it. People who pay you can have access to it. So like, for example, you could have that behind a paywall on Buy Me a Coffee. You can have it behind a paywall on Patreon and a bunch of other places. I think Supercast is another one. You can actually have your content hidden from your regular audience. And only people who pay for it get the special link, and your podcast hosting site has a way to flag your episodes as private. So the person listening will get their own unique link, which then they can listen to on their app. So it's not public facing. The downside of a podcast that's behind a paywall or private is that it's also hidden, not just from your listening audience, but from search engines. They can't see it because it's hidden behind a wall. It's all covered up, and you're not gaining anything from Google searches or AI searches or any of that because it's hidden behind a wall, right? So you're going to miss out on some opportunities. So think about that. The other thing about a private podcast, if you're doing it in addition to your free public-facing podcast, is you're now committing to extra content. So before you make this a thing, make sure you have time to make it a thing. Whatever is behind a paywall needs to be of such amazing value that people are willing to part with their money to be a part of it. Some people will buy into it just to support you because they love you, but others are looking for value beyond what you do on your show. So this would be new content, not covered for free, but something different, something deeper, something and the next level for your audience, for them to part with their money. It better be valuable if you're going to ask for people to pay for it. So keep that in mind. Private podcasts, they're great for making money with your show. They're great for community building within a private community, but they also hide you from the world. So the world won't see your content, your episode titles. None of that stuff matters because it's hiding behind a paywall. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You're hiding your best content from the world and keeping it for a small group of people. Does that fit with your plans, or does that go against your plans? If you want to talk about this more, howtopodcast.ca. Happy to help. Happy to talk anytime. Let's meet. Take care.